right, so look here. It's Martin Luther King's celebration here in Rockville. And we're excited. We're Soul in Motion. My name is Michael Friend, and we've been here now about, I don't know, it seems like about 100 years now. You guys ask us to return every year, and we're honored. Thank you. So we want to get this ceremony started, and I think the best way to get it started is with energy. You're going to hear great speeches today, but our job is to get everybody excited, motivated, pumped up, and involved. So how we're going to do that? I need everybody to stand up. Yeah. And now we're going to get the juices flowing. Baba, give us some song. Let's get it going.
Good morning. Welcome and thank you for coming to the City of Rockville's 44th annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration. 44th. I think that means it started in 1972. And one of the longest running strings of MLK Day celebrations, if not the longest in the nation. I'm Ken Sannon of the Rockville Human Rights Commission. I'd like to start by asking you to join me in thanking the Prelude Act. It was Josephine, that's the name of the group. In the auditorium, Chris Watson on violin and guitar, Andrew Ferguson on drums, Leo Lightfoot keys, and Alex Nowak on bass. They're all independent, hardworking musicians, as well as friends of Chris Watson, coming together for the event under the name Josephine, which is also the name of Chris's violin, named after his late grandmother, Josephine Scott. Thanks also to Soul in Motion and Kathy Smith Contemporary Dance Ensemble. The theme of today is the challenge, building community in the age of Ferguson and Baltimore. We'd like to ask the members of the Rockville Human Rights Commission who are here to stand, please. I see Ben Schneider, Deborah Kahn, Alonzo Smith, Joy Murancleri, and David Smith. The Rockville Human Rights Commission is a volunteer organization with about 11 members, and we produce annually a multimedia contest, about which we'll hear later, public forums during the year, voter registration drives, mediation services, and diversity leadership workshops. The next one will be on February 20th. For more information about the commission, we invite you to stop by our table in the hallway after the ceremony. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken, and thanks everybody for being here this morning. I'm Ben Schneider with the Rockville Human Rights Commission. You'll be noticing as the morning progresses, one recurring theme that we'll be returning to is the theme of pairs with diverse narratives to empower all of us to really own Dr. King's vision for a beloved community. So to that end, I can't think of a group that embodies that theme better than Operation Understanding DC. It's a group that's affected my life as an alumni. It brings together Black and Jewish students in the DMV to explore Black and Jewish American history, and through that, inspire themselves and each other to promote an accepting and diverse and welcoming community here in the DMV. So I'd like to welcome to the stage Jordana Meyer and Drew Hickman of Operation Understanding DC to share with us a bit about what they've learned in the program.
Mr. J. Charles Jones, a man who was once jailmates with Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and participated in many sit-ins, said, "Don't know where we're going, but know where you're coming from." Every individual in this room just interpreted this quote differently and thought of themselves and thought of where they're going or their past, and some of the others of us may have thought as we, as a community, as a nation, and maybe the rest of you guys blinked out and didn't hear a word I said. Hello, my name is Drew Hickman, and I am a senior at Walter Johnson High School in Bethesda, Maryland. I'm a student of Operation Understanding DC's 21st class. Operation Understanding DC is a nonprofit organization that runs solely off of the generosity of our donors. Every year, OUDC has a new class of 24 students, 12 African American, 12 Jewish. The program is split into 3 sections. The first part of the program, we meet as a class every other Sunday for 5 hours and learn about each other's history, religions, and faith. This continues for 6 months. The second part of the program, which is in July, which includes going on a 24-day summer journey, roughly following the path of the 1961 Freedom Riders. The third part of the program, we go back into the community and give speeches and hold dialogues to challenge them to open their eyes and see things that they might not have seen before. This experience has been a catalyst for me to open up my eyes and has given me an additional family of 23 smart, unique, and life-changing individuals. All of this began to click in my head the first program that was held, and it was the African American History program. This program showed me that there was way more to history than we learn in schools. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was not the only person a part of the civil rights movement, and that the movement is an ongoing struggle. I'm a native Georgian, and I moved to Maryland in the middle of my freshman year. On the summer journey, we traveled to Atlanta, a place I can call home. As we traveled throughout Atlanta on a bus tour, I was completely mesmerized, learning about things that were in my face the whole time. Things such as how much of an impact the Olympics had on the city, Coca-Cola being the major brand of the city and one of the reasons Georgia's racism wasn't broadcasted to the country, and realizing how powerful it is to stand in the birthplace and sit in the childhood church of a man who would not sit in silence, a man who fought for equality for his country. This man is the reason I'm here speaking to you today, and it is mind-boggling to say I was sitting in Ebenezer Baptist Church wondering how I can make a change like Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.
Hi, my name is Jordana Meyer, and I'm a senior at Bethesda Chevy Chase High School. So after the several months that Drew was talking about of the educational portion at the beginning of the program, I could recite the histories of all the civil rights organizations, I could name the leaders in the documentaries, but I had yet to absorb what it meant to enact these principles that I had learned. Our first activity that we did together as a class was an unforgettable experience for me, though. For 5 long, intense minutes, we each stared deeply into the eyes of one other student. I stared into the eyes of my classmate Malik, whom I had only just met. His eyes had just seen a gunman penetrate his school for the second time that week. And I could only wonder what he saw in my eyes. Was it judgment or understanding, connection or standoff? When the time ended, I could only hug him and sit down speechless. I often think about that experience and how after 5 minutes, I began to understand the compassion that would envelop everyone in OUDC and everyone we would meet along our odyssey towards justice. During our summer journey through New York and the Deep South, loosely following the route of the 1961 Freedom Riders, as Drew said, we met over 85 speakers, from former death row inmates to the founder of the Black Lives Matter movement, Opal Tometi. And many of them peppered their talks with freedom songs from the civil rights movement. And we too began to sing everywhere we went, songs like Hallelujah, I'm a-traveling down freedom's main line, and I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom, which we sang as we crossed the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma. But now, as our OUDC year draws to a close and Class 22's opens, we call on you and anyone who cherishes their freedoms enough to fight for those of others, and everyone who believes in every child's right to equal education, in the abolishment of the school-to-prison pipeline, in addressing poverty, in recognizing hate crimes, discrimination, and brutality for what they are. We encourage you to explore your voice and its power, embrace as a challenge what others might view as a burden. It is our right and our responsibility to preserve freedom. If we stand together, not just in solidarity, but in community as we do today, we prove to the freedom fighters of the past that their legacies live in us. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who we celebrate today, once had a dream that all people would be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Theodore Herzl, father of modern Zionism, said that if you will it, it is no dream. Well, we will it, and it can be a dream no longer. In this journey towards justice and equality, ain't gonna let nobody turn us around, turn us around. Turn us around, ain't gonna let nobody turn us around. We're gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching down to freedom land. Thank you.
And now let's welcome Josephine back to the stage for some music.
Hi. Awesome. My name is Chris Watson, and this is Josephine. Today we're going to play a song for you called On and Five. I'm very honored to be here. This is a very awesome event, to be a part of this. The song itself is about not giving up, taking chances. You never know. We're just going to get to it. Before things turn around, you gotta stick it out one more time. You gotta show up one more time. Don't let this knock you down for good, 'cause then who's gonna stand your ground? You'll be alone in this world sometimes, and you won't see the light at the end of the tunnel all the time. No. But don't you stop, 'cause you're on fire. Gotta believe one more time. Gotta keep open your eyes, 'cause you never know when a prize might decide to take off its disguise. Many different paths you will find. Oh, many different colors and lines. And no matter which mountain you climb, just keep your head high to the sky. For hope you'll be alone in this world sometimes, yeah. And you won't see the light at the end of the tunnel all the time. But don't you stop, 'cause you're on fire, yeah. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. I am Sequoia Ayala of the Rockville Human Rights Commission, and this is my son, Jose. Today we will be introducing Mayor Newton to come and give some welcoming remarks of her own.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for being here with us today. It's my honor and privilege to introduce several of our dignitaries in the office. That's where my mind is, in the office. In the audience with us, Councilmember Virginia Onley. Please stand. Councilmember Julie Polakovich-Carr. And Councilmember Mark Pershela. With us also from the city, our city manager, Barbara Matthews. City clerk, Sarah Farrell. Our chief of police, Terry Treshik. And our deputy city manager, Jenny Kimball. We have several dignitaries being represented at the federal level. Ken Reichard, representing Senator Ben Cardin. Kathy Provost, representing Congressman Chris Van Hollen. And Lori Edberg, representing Senator Barbara Mikulski. From our state elected officials, we have Senator Cheryl Kagan and Senator Jamie Raskin. Delegate Kumar Barve. Delegate Jim Gilchrist. And Delegate Charlie Barkley. County Council members Sidney Katz and Nancy Florine. And Rockville former Mayor Steve Van Grack. And Rose Krasnow. And Rockville former council member Jim Marinan. It's very dark to see out. Is there anybody that I've missed? Okay. I'd also like to give a big thank you to the Rockville Human Rights Commission for your ongoing efforts to promote this dialogue and for your efforts every year to put on this program. Thank you very much. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. Dr. Martin Luther King said that in 1963. We know that Dr. King stood for equality for all people, but it is also his message of tolerance and respect that today's world needs to heed the most. We are at a crossroads with fear, negativity, and vitriol that have taken over. And what we do to meet this challenge, this opportunity to put into action the values that the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King preached will define us for all time. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We've heard that many, many times. And it's true, whether it's in the workplace, the legal system, or on the borders of our country. As we enjoy the program today and listen to the remarks of our speaker, Dr. David Ragland, please take with you the dreams of peace, of access for all, of tolerance and understanding. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Let us not be silent. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Newton. At this time, I'd like to introduce our next performers with Louis Zhang and his quartet performing a musical number. The performers are Grace Kang, Amatosh, Edwin Chen, and David Chen.
Next up, we'd like to bring to the stage another pair of students who embody Dr. King's beloved community. I'd like to invite up Rory Guthrie and Jasmine Eckroth of the Sexuality and Gender Acceptance Club at Rockville High School.
Good morning, all. I would like to say that I'm privileged to have your attention. Being able to talk about my experiences is unique and something that I can't say I thought I'd imagine anytime soon. My name is Rory Guthrie, and what I'd like to talk about is why I'm standing here right now. On the surface, it is near impossible to tell what story someone has to tell. I'm not just standing up here because I was asked to, or because I would love to. I can take pride in being able to say that I'm standing up here right now. Not many people like me are here to say that. At Rockville High School, the sexuality and gender acceptance community takes pride in individuality, being who you are. For me, it was hard to accept the fact that I am different. Being pansexual and gender nonconforming, it turns heads. It was strenuous to find myself, but once I did, it clicked. Last year, I began to feel repercussions. Every time I wore something that didn't reflect what society wanted me to wear, people made me feel uncomfortable, slanderizing my identity. I started feeling like an outcast, like I didn't belong. I became existential, depressed, and in mid-November, suicidal. It wasn't until December 10th last year, I was hospitalized for 11 days to seek help for my suicidal thoughts. Before then, I had a plan to kill myself. The plan was supposed to be executed last week. That event never came, and because of it, there's a lot of beauty in myself that I can continue to live for it to shine. I have several friends who love me, and I can return love too. Friends who can accept me for who I am. I can express myself in art. I can play over 15 instruments, and I'm still learning more. I auditioned and got the lead role for my school's musical. I can continue to dress up and do makeup, though, granted, sometimes I look like a mistreated doll. I'm standing up here in this current moment. My life has been and continues to be a heartbeat, full of ups and downs. My time in the hospital, I had felt so incredibly broken, as if someone smashed me into a million pieces and never expected me to be fixed. But a good friend once told me that life is not supposed to be fixed, but experienced. Gay, straight, bi, genderqueer, whoever you are, once I came to terms with which one I was, I could feel more than what I questioned I was. I'm alive, and I am so proud to say that. Thank you.
Today we honor Martin Luther King. And with that notion, I have a dream. I have a dream for a world filled with love, a world where people can love freely. I have a dream where a gay couple everywhere can get married, where a lesbian couple doesn't have to go through hoops to adopt a child, where LGBTQ teens don't feel the need to commit suicide to escape their harassment. I have a dream for peace and happiness within my community and within the communities of others. I want to see the day where people don't get judged by their ethnicity, sexuality, gender expression, religion, or any other quality. Hi, my name is Jasmine Eckroth. I am openly bisexual and currently serve as the president of Rockville High School's Sexuality and Gender Acceptance Club. I joined the club my freshman year for support and acceptance. Now as a junior, I'm an officer to give the support. I want to affect change and show others that they can make a difference. Freshman year, I joined looking for friends and comfort in my community. I wasn't sure if I could be open about my sexuality. That year, I made a lot of friends and learned acceptance. I also saw the flaws in my club's structure. I wanted to do something about it, so I became an officer. Over the last 2 years, my officers and I have grown the club size, started fundraisers during our Ally Week, and been there to support our other LGBTQ peers. I'm so lucky to live in such an area with a big community and with lots of acceptance. My school can be so supportive, and I believe every school should have that. Every school should have a club to support their LGBTQ teens, a club to help affect change. It only takes one person to make a difference, because when that one person stands up, others are bound to follow. Before you know it, you'll have an army that can bring along positive change, the change that can eventually affect the world. It only takes one, just one person. So I challenge all of you to be that one person. Stand up for what you know is right when you see the chance. Affect change for the better. Create a happier and safer world.
Hello, I'm Commissioner David Smith from the Human Rights Commission. We have a series of performers coming up, but first I want to introduce our keynote speaker, who will go first. And Dr. Dave Ragland is a colleague and a personal friend of mine, so I'm really glad that he's presenting and speaking with us today. He is a Ferguson protester, originally from the St. Louis area, and is the co-founder and co-director of the Truth Telling Project in Ferguson, Missouri. He also teaches in the Peace and Conflict Studies College at Juniata College in Huntington, Pennsylvania. Dave's research is focused on restorative justice, peace education, social and structural violence, as well as human rights and justice theory. And he's on the board of the Peace and Justice Studies Association. Following Dave's talk, Miles Frost, a 16-year-old from Wooten High School, an 11th grader, will perform. Beyond Miles' academic achievements, Miles has that rare quality of natural talent that captures every audience he gets in front of. Since the age of 7, Miles has begun playing piano and drums, learning gospel hymns and classical music. He was recently selected to attend the Andrew Young 2015 Procter & Gamble Leadership Academy at Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. And I don't know if you know, but Morehouse College is where Dr. King was an alum from. And then after Miles, we will be honored with Sabor Afro-Latino. This is a group from Thomas Wooten High School, the Bala Danza Club, which started last year with an emphasis on creating a cultural and social program that students could enjoy. The club is composed of a diversified student body that practices twice a week and competes in local Latin ballroom dance competitions. But first, I want to present to you Dr. David Ragland.
Good morning. Before I get started, I want to just thank my friend David Smith, my friend and colleague, Janet Kelly, those who helped to organize this, City of Rockland officials, Rockland Human Rights Commission, and most of all of you for being here and listening. The title of this talk is Many Truths, One Community, Justice in the Age of Baltimore and Ferguson. And part of this is about speaking to what King described as beloved community. And in speaking about beloved community, truth has to be faced. And the story of two fish come to mind. They're swimming along. A bigger fish passes them asking, "How's the water?" The two small fish continue on swimming when one asked, "What's water?" This topic of many truths on this occasion requires reflection on King's truths, most famously from his renowned Riverside Church address, where he spoke about unpopular truths emerging from his work and opposition to the war in Vietnam. He titled them The Triple Evils: They are materialism, militarism, and racism. And I'm going to focus on this, my experiences, right? So these are challenges, but my experiences, but then possibilities emerging from this. So, like fish who don't know that they're swimming in water, we may individually not understand triple evils because they seem normal, invisible because many don't acknowledge them, because it's woven into our everyday life, or some benefit, or others just don't care. And so I come to you from the north side of St. Louis, a few miles away from Ferguson, which part of the legacy of white flight and segregation, where in the early days of the Ferguson uprising, later in Baltimore, New York City, where we encountered the interconnected triple evils of materialism that protect its own sense of control and power, as well as the materialism of business as usual and property over the fulfillment of justice in the lives of people experiencing racism. Nonviolently standing up in the American tradition of protest and resistance, nonviolently, while white men resisting paying grazing fees with guns now occupy federal property. King discussed materialism. We could also call this greed. In his 1958 essay, Pilgrimage to Nonviolence, I speak of materialism and poverty together because the greed of materialism, the excess of some in the world of limited resources, will have an effect on others. So King wrote, although American capitalism has greatly reduced the gap through social reforms, there was still a need for a better distribution of wealth. The danger of profit motive as the sole basis of an economic system, capitalism, is always in danger of inspiring men to be more concerned about making a living rather than making a life. We are prone to judge success by the index of our salaries or the size of our automobiles, rather than by the quality of our service and relationship to humanity. So I ask, how many times have we ignored the homeless as we walk by, stressed by life, but laden with shopping bags in our hands en route to our new cars, warm homes? In the wealthiest nation in the world, there should not be homelessness or poverty. This administration rarely talks about poverty. There's a cult of middle class, since they're more likely to vote and buy into the American dream, but end up saddled with debt perpetuated by commercialism. So when you see people that you think ought not to be driving that car or wearing those new sneakers, we need a new analysis that looks at how the very nature of being free is falsely summed up in a commercial telling you how much your inner peace, how manly or sexy, American, or your very personhood will be improved by what you buy, own, or have. I saw one commercial that said, be free, drive, I'm not going to put them on Front Street. But poverty is dehumanizing. You get treated better if you have material wealth, considered more worthy of trust. And while it's important to have enough and care for your family, King warned us that materialism can become greed that makes us value things over people, profit over community. Pope John Paul II and Pope Francis condemn materialism for its focus on things, not people. What are our values? Materialism and poverty in this society do not stand alone, but is interwoven through militarism or the use and threat of violence to force and solve our problems. Somebody tell me, what did King say about violence? Right, that violence begets violence, right? We've heard that before. Then why the hell does our government and police continue to use violence? He wasn't just talking about protesters using nonviolence. Violence shows a lack of creativity and control. But King was hated because he spoke openly against war. He knew that war, as Karl von Clausewitz, the military theorist, wrote, suggests politics by other means. And war is often never for the purpose or the reasons that we're told, but often for profit. No matter how just a war they tell you it is. How many of you all know that during World War II, each tank had compartments for Hershey's candy bars, Coca-Cola, Wrigley spearmint gum, the soldiers would give out as they liberated towns, liberating, making the way free for business. But even profiteers collaborated with those committing mass atrocities. Fast forward to the Bush wars, started by Bush, continued by Obama, sold to the public in patriotic rhetoric, while the government never fessed up to the real reasons: oil, military contract, war profiteering, weapons manufacturing. I know, jobs, I know. My grandfather had a good job at McDonnell Douglas, right, which was the forerunner of Boeing. But we're often made complicit because we don't practice and build institutions that reinforce peace and nonviolence. Many soldiers come back from war wondering, what was it for? Having earned less than military contractors and forced to rely on family for needed equipment on the front lines. Such contradictions like this and the treatment of veterans should give us pause. People or the politics of war. Ferguson, Baltimore, and the reaction of the government to black protesters, not the white ones in Oregon. This shows us that there is a flow between the military and police departments across the country, now armed with tanks and semi-automatic weapons, surveillance equipment, and drones. Why do towns in rural America need tanks? People need jobs. And not jobs that rely on human misery or profit from human misery. Or why are we convinced that arming everyone will make us safer? When statistically, you're more likely to have your gun used against you in a robbery. These are the facts. You can't say king in one hand with a gun in the other. Ferguson taught me I don't need guns to stand up for my rights or to take power. The police and officials have no more authority. We withdrew our authority. We withdrew our consent. There are many reasons to withdraw authority. That's what nonviolence is. When countless women describe being humiliated and ignored when reporting sexual assault to the police, or police themselves being more likely to abuse partners, Black, trans women, and people of LGBTQ identities find themselves victimized by police, discriminated against and unable to find work because of their identity, or sexual workers who find themselves criminalized when Johns go free. There's a values problem. When the triple evil or racism guarantees that Black and Latino boys are more likely to be suspended because of teacher stereotyping, and studies point out that suspensions will lead to jail. Or because of a boy's faith and ethnicity, he's accused of making a bomb when it's a clock. Or a young girl is tackled in her desk by the police for not putting up a cell phone. But you know, in the video, the police officer does take some care. First, he gently takes the laptop off of her desk and commences to throwing this girl all over the floor. We have to learn from this. So my parents labored to keep us on the right track, and we saw our neighborhood and family devastated by the crack epidemic. They get charged after the mortgage crisis with higher interest rates, despite near-perfect credit scores, because of their zip code. We only know this because of a class action lawsuit. Leslie Mack, Black Lives Matter organizer, pointed out in her podcast that racism brings the criminal justice systems into contact with Black and brown people who should never have had any dealings with law enforcement. Tamir Rice, Freddie Gray, who had no reason to be arrested, or Sandra Bland, who was executed because she stood up, or India Kager, Navy vet from this community, this area, the DMV area, shot 30 times in Virginia Beach with her 3-month-old baby in the back seat. Racism is invisible, but people practice it. Somebody, according to the police in Virginia Beach, called the cops on India Kager, saying that she and her child's father looked like they were somebody who was about to engage in criminality. But that's not the actual reason. But then somebody else made a called the police on John Crawford because he had a toy gun in the toy gun aisle at Walmart. They called and said he looked dangerous. As he was shot, he's screaming, "It's a toy." The shooter feeling justified in this action because knowing that he would be protected by law, as after all, it's just another dead Black body. Who called the cops on me? When I was taking a study break as a grad student, a police approached me and questioned me and asked me what I was doing, who was I, what was I there for. After I talked to the officer for a while, he explained to me that somebody called the cops on you because they said you looked like you didn't belong. Values. When American history is one of violence and racism that connects to the triple evils, Mary Wollstonecraft, author of Vindication of the Rights of Women, critiqued the American Revolution because of slavery and its treatment of women. After the Civil War, President Andrew Jackson forced the relocation of the Cherokee Nation from part of present-day Georgia. All of this was done in opposition to the ruling by the Supreme Court, who said that the Cherokee Nation had its own distinct culture and law that should not be interfered. Yet President Jackson facilitated the Trail of Tears. Historian Joseph Ellis, in his important historical work, Founding Brothers, writes about the petition to abolish slavery by the Quakers, made its way into the Constitutional Congress. Rigorous debate began. Some suggested that the very nature of revolution required freedom of slaves, while Representative James Jackson of Georgia used the Bible to justify slavery. He said, rice cannot be brought to market without these people. William Lawton Smith of Georgia drove home the point by stating, such is the state of agriculture in this country that no white man should perform the task required to drain the swamps and clear the land, so that without slaves it must be depopulated. It was decided to continue with business as usual and strike from the records that this moral debate had even happened until that generation of founding fathers died. In a sense, silence creating the sense of the natural order of things. And this order was fiercely defended by slave owners, the beneficiaries of the system generations later. Lawyer and best-selling author Michelle Alexander connects the continuation of slavery with slave patrols formed to track down runaway slaves. Jim Crow and our current prison system that disproportionately incarcerates Black and Latinos. Our history is with us, but we can't deny it. We have to learn from it, because we are not listening to the radical truth-telling of our ancestors. There's a problem with values. After World War II, the U.S. made sure that Japan and Germany had provisions requiring education for nonviolence, peace, and human dignity in their constitution. But we didn't change our own constitution. How the hell do we not need nonviolence, peace, and education for human dignity? Values. King knew it. He even asked Harry Belafonte if he had helped to integrate us into a burning house. But he offered hope. He said that we have to move from a thing-oriented society to a person-oriented society. And radical truth-telling coming from Ferguson and Baltimore and other cities around the country offer what the rest of this nation must do. Truth-telling is the beginning of a moral inventory needed for us to evaluate who we are as a society. A chance to listen to the least of us. Don't we owe a thorough listening? A chance to reconsider justice. What if justice restored what was lost instead of punishing and throwing away the key? What if justice in this society went beyond its first iterations, where the only ones entitled to justice owned land? What if justice paid more attention to our moral status as human beings rather than our bank accounts and race? People are doing this. People are experimenting and trying other possibilities around this country. In schools, using restorative justice, where we look at the root causes of behavior. In Chicago, one school said they didn't think they can do it, but they got rid of the bars and the metal detectors and treated students like human. If there was a problem, they asked students about it in circles as community. When Johnny and Jane act out, they tried to understand why. Because to act out means to make the inward outward. And we need to know what's going on with our kids. It's been done in jails in Richmond, California, where the murder rate was cut down over 50%. Entire cities in the U.S. have shifted their focus to education over imprisonment and found that even more economic development is possible when the population was educated. Restorative justice means accountability, going to the root causes. So affluenza or whiteness doesn't get you off for killing 4 people while driving drunk. Or if you're a danger, jail is an option, but we still treat you like a human. We don't just throw you away. That's what restorative justice means. And this movement for Black lives and liberation uses some of these approaches to transform the very nature of how we deal with each other and the way we see each other in the world. We have no choice. The possibility of a society that doesn't profit from human misery or war, violence, or economic and environmental degradation, fear, but rebuilding a new way of relating, restructuring society and the way it works. Or instead of spurring economic growth by building prisons, we should build more schools, educate those who commit crimes. Because most crime is not economic nor racial. Most crime is economic, not racial or moral. But it is immoral when the best educated on Wall Street use it to fleece my father and your father's pensions, and the Bush and Obama administration give them billion-dollar bailouts to Wall Street. We need a bailout. Poor white people need a bailout. Black and Latinos need bailouts. We should be welcoming immigrants. That was King's dream. We must be creative. We must grow economically without profiting or allowing human misery or cause oppression on our brothers and sisters in the global South. King brought people together toward the end of his life. He was creating this rainbow coalition, various races, to deal with poverty. He knew that we have more in common than what separates us, because this is a movement for us all. But all lives do not matter, while Black lives don't matter. Suhad Khattab, close friend and part of the Palestinian delegation in Ferguson, said during the October uprising, "If Black folks truly get free in America, the rest of the world has a chance." The world is watching.
Test. How's everyone doing this morning? That's not good enough. How's everyone doing this morning? Good, good, good. My name is Miles Frost. I've been playing piano since I was about 6 and a half, singing as well. Used to have a band. Now I'm solo. So I wanted to first of all thank the committee for nominating me for this award. You know, it's really an honor to be here, you know, amongst you guys, and it's an honor to celebrate such a wonderful man. The song I'm singing is Marvin Gaye, What's Going On? And it's a song that, you know, really captures everything that, you know, what we're going through. It portrays what we're going through, you know? And it says what Martin Luther King was trying to say through song. So, you know, I'm a little bit under the weather today, you know, but I knew I had to be here because today is a day of celebration. You know, I wouldn't miss this for the world. So with, I might need you guys' help, by the way, so to sing this song. So if you guys can help me, and when I say, what's going on, you're going to say, what's going on? Can you guys do that? Thank you so much. You guys are so wonderful. Mother, mother, there's too many of you crying. Brother, 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 there's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Father, Father, there's no need to escalate. War is not the answer, for only love can conquer hate. You know we've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Pick your lines and pick your signs. Don't punish me with brutality. Talk to me so you can see what's going on. What's going on? Good. What's going on? You tell me what's going on. Hey. Ay, 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 ay. Ooh. Do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Mother, mother, yeah, everybody thinks we're wrong. But who are they to judge us just because our hair is long? You know we've got to find a way, yeah, to bring some love in here today. Pick your lines and pick your signs. Don't punish me with brutality. Talk to me so we can see what's going on. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Ooh. You know, I saw the Motown review. Did anybody see that? That play, it was phenomenal. And Marvin Gaye, when he found out that Martin Luther King had died, he had an anger that grew inside of him. And what he did was, he put that anger in this song. And if black people as a unit and people of other cultures can find a way to put all this anger into something constructive instead of something destructive, we would move a lot, we would move forward a lot faster, So, again, I wanted to thank everybody, for, allowing me to perform in front of you guys. It's a blessing. Again, I was a little bit under the weather, so I appreciate you guys. You guys sounded amazing, by the way, so give yourselves a hand. So, thank you so much.
apostado a lo nuestro, a este amor tan inmenso que no sabe morir. He llorado tanto más que el cielo, lágrimas de dolor. He tocado fondo tantas veces luchando por tu amor.
Sabor Afro-Latina, and Miles Frost. Next in our program will be the awards ceremonies. 2 awards will be given out. The first is the Dr. King Award, given to a high school student in Rockville who has some way furthered Martin Luther King's dream. The Human Rights Commission annually challenges the minds of the city's high school students to think globally about human rights issues by sponsoring the award is students that in some way further Dr. King's dream. The nominees this year are Julian Avenilla, Mabel Greata Eti Benissan, Miles Frost, Medot Kefelnia, Zakaria Khan, Katrina Lay, Sidea Zahra Musavi, Rahila Olan Rewaju, Nabila Okudo, and Taylor Sullivan. The winner this year is Julian Avenilla. Would you please join me on stage? Congratulations. The Martin Luther King Jr. Youth Award awards the advancement of the goals and dreams of Dr. Martin Luther King. Is fundamental to strengthening our society and promoting unity through diversity. This effort must begin with youth. This award is presented by the Mayor and Council and the Human Rights Commission in recognition of exemplary efforts to promote the message of Dr. Martin Luther King for youth in our community. Julian M. Avenilla, January 18th, 2016. The next award honors the late F. Michael Taft, former chair of the Rockville Human Rights Commission and a dedicated human rights activist. This award recognizes exemplary efforts of individuals or groups within the city who act to reduce the barriers that restrain the full participation of those with disabilities. The nominees are in the insert in your programs, and they can receive their certificates at the human rights table in front of the stage after the program. The nominees are the Alzheimer's Association of the National Capital Area Chapter, Linda Astrove, Mary Caroline Coletti, and Linda Handelsman. The winner of the award is Lisa Handelsman.
The award winner is Lisa Handelman of the F. Michael Taft Award. The elimination of discrimination against individuals with disabilities and the achievement of equal access to all persons are fundamental to the respect and dignity of every member of our society. Presented by the Mayor and Council and the Human Rights Commission in recognition of exemplary efforts to attain the full inclusion of persons with disabilities in our community. Congratulations.
Congratulations. The next award is for a multimedia contest winner. The Human Rights Commission annually challenges high school students to think globally about human rights. They're given several human rights topics to choose from, and they develop products, say a video, some kind of art, a photo or essays or poems that serve as a means of creating awareness about human rights for the writers and for the audiences and for readers. The winners this year are first prize, Florina Lamb, Maxwell Redding, and Sinclair Redding. Will you please join us on stage?
Just wanted to also acknowledge that our county executive, Ike Leggett, is here. I wasn't aware of that earlier, as well as one of our staff members in the clerk's office, Faraz Ani.
Let's give a round of applause for all our awardees. Great. Particularly important, Human Rights Commission, we focus on these awards, that we take them very seriously. And for us, one of the great privileges is working with a lot of young people in the city. So particularly today, we have an event where much of it is with the youth of Rockville, who are showing us their talents, their knowledge, their understanding, their vision. It's really important for us, and we're really proud of all the young people who live in Rockville and participate in our program. So next, we are pleased to have the Bones Jones Music perform. We have staff members from Bones Jones Music, a local music school here in Rockville, and they offer unique, personalized music lessons for guitar, piano, voice, drums, bass, ukulele, recording, and music production. So without any further ado. I'm sorry. I misintroduced. This is the Young at Heart. I apologize. So Young at Heart is an all-volunteer performing tap dance company, performing primarily for local community centers and senior audiences. They have a varied selection of dances on both the Broadway and rhythm tap styles, including costumes to highlight each other. And the group has been around since 1998. So they are going first, and then Bones Jones, which I just introduced, will follow them. Thank you.
Check. Good morning. How y'all doing? All right, we are Bones Jones Music, and we're about to perform for you. Now, I didn't have a speech prepared. I wasn't going to say anything, but something hit me when I was listening to one of the gentlemen speak. And as we celebrate today, let us remember what this man lived for, what he died for, and that should resonate in our hearts to treat every individual, everyone as equal, and love one another freely. That's it. Can y'all hear that? Can it come up a little louder? To you, hey. Thank you. Very good. Nice. Nice. Thank you.
As around the sun, the earth knows she's revolving, and the rosebuds know to bloom in early May. Just as hate knows love's the cure, you can rest your mind assured that I'll be loving you always. As now can reveal the mystery of tomorrow, but in passing we'll grow older every day. Just as all is born is new, you know what I say is true, that I'll be loving you always. Until the rainbow runs the stars in the sky, always. Until the ocean covers every mountain high, always. Until the dolphin flies and berries through the sea, always. Until the dream of life and life becomes a. Did you know that true love asks for nothing? Their acceptance is the way we pay. Did you know that life is giving love a guarantee to last and forever another day? Just as time is to move on since the beginning, and the seasons know exactly when to change. Just as kindness knows no shame, know through all your joy and pain, that I'll be loving you always. As the day I know I'm living by tomorrow can make me the past, but that I mustn't fear. For I know deep in my mind the love of me I left behind, 'cause I'll be loving you always. Till the rainbow burns the stars out in the sky, always. Can y'all sing that with us? Just say always. Always. There you go. I hear you. Always. Until the dream of life and life becomes a dream. Did you know you love by somebody? Until the stars are in the sky. Always. Until the ocean covers every mountain high, I've been loving you forever. Until the dolphin flies and berries sleep at sea. Always. Until we dream of life and life becomes a dream. Oh. Y'all sing this. La 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 la. Y'all say, come on. Oh, come on. I know it's early. One more time. Hey. La 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 la. Oh, here we go. Hold on to me. Don't let me go. Who cares what they see? Who cares what they know? Your first name is free. Your last name is dumb. 'cause we still believe in everyone. Man, red flower, every living thing. Mind, use your power. Spirit, use your wings. Y'all say freedom. Freedom! Come on. Freedom! Freedom! Hey, freedom. 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 Come on, y'all, okay? Oh. Hold on to me. Oh, don't let me go. Cheetahs need to eat. Run antelope. Your first name is King. Your last name is Dumb. 'Cause you still believe in everyone. Mind over power. Hey. Spirits in the sea. Mind, use your power. Spirit, use your wings. Hey, y'all sing it. Freedom! 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 Freedom. Oh. La 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 la. Y'all sing that one more time. La 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 la. Oh. We are from heat. The electric one. Does it shock you to see he left us the sun? Hey, atoms in the air, organisms in the sea. The sun and yes, man are made of the same things. Freedom! 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 One more time, y'all. Say freedom. Oh. Freedom. La 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 la. Freedom. Oh, God bless.
Hi, my name is Rabbi Deborah Bowden-Cohen, and I'm a member of the Human Rights Commission. And it is my pleasure to introduce Aman Rasul Nagavi, who is a imam in our area, serving several different mosques, and is also a graduate student and teacher at Georgetown University. And the two of us are going to share just a few closing thoughts before we end our program today.
All Muslims start, like every other nation and community and faithful people, by greeting each other. And I greet everyone by what every Muslim is greeting other by saying salam. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi tahirin. In the name of God, the beneficent, the merciful. Oh God, we thank you for the fact that you have inspired men and women in all nations and all cultures. We call you by different names. Some call you Allah. Some call you Elohim. Some call you Jehovah. Some call you Brahma. And some call you the unmoved mover. But we all know that these all are this different name for the one and the same God. grant us that we will follow you and become so committed to your way and your kingdom that we will be able to establish in our lives and in this world a brother and sisterhood. That we will be able to establish here a kingdom of understanding. A kingdom of understanding where men and women will live together as brothers and sisters and respect the dignity and the worth of every human being. Let us say Amen.
And although the Imam read those words so passionately and so beautifully, they were words written by Martin Luther King Jr. himself. And now I read an affirmation based also on the writings of Dr. King. I refuse to believe that we are unable to influence the events that surround us. I refuse to believe that we are so bound to racism and war that peace, brotherhood, and sisterhood are not possible. I believe there is an urgent need for people to overcome oppression and violence without resorting to violence and oppression. I believe that we need to discover a way to live together in peace, a way which rejects revenge, aggression, and retaliation. The foundation of this way is love. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word in reality. I believe that right, temporarily defeated, is stronger than evil triumphant. I believe that people everywhere can have 3 meals a day for their bodies, education and culture for their minds, and dignity, equality, and freedom for their spirits. By the goodness of God at work within people, I believe that brokenness can be healed. And then the lion and lamb shall lie down together, and everyone will sit under their vine and their fig tree, and none shall make them afraid. So we're about to conclude this wonderful, wonderful event that we had together, and I have a few more introductions to make and just a few thank yous as well. I'd like to introduce 2 of our school board members who are here with us today, Jill Ortman-Faust and Rebecca Schmadrowski. Thank you so much for being with us today. I'd like to thank the interpreters from Star Signs Interpreting. And thanks to the city staff and the Richard Montgomery students and staff for all of their help. I also want to make sure to thank Janet Kelly. I don't know if she's in the room now, but Janet is the person at the City Hall who really brought this whole thing together and has worked so hard on this program. If she's here, is Janet in the room? I think that she's been running around all morning, keeping us moving and keeping us going. And thank you to the Ambassadors of Hope. There are greeters and ushers and our setup crew. And a couple of reminders. Please fill out your evaluation forms and give them to the ushers as you leave the auditorium. And I'm supposed to remind you that you can volunteer at the volunteer tables that are set up outside, and together we can grow this movement. And as well, please join us for the reception after the program today. And Souls in Motion will lead us out of the auditorium. Thank you.